Geeks, nerds, gamers, and trolls, this is your MMOBomb.com first look at Amazing Eternals, an upcoming free-to-play hero shooter from Digital Extremes, a company you may be familiar with. They do a little game called Warframe. I am the Noob Fridge, Troy Blackburn, and I'll be your guide as we take a look at what Amazing Eternals has to offer in your first few hours of gameplay, and all we want to do is help you decide if this is a game you'd like to try. Amazing Eternals is currently in closed beta and is currently available via standalone client on PC. MMOBomb.com has been giving away closed beta codes, so be sure to check there and see if we've still got any left. If you're the type who wants to drop a few bucks to get in, instant access is granted with the purchase of an Amazing Eternals Founders Pack, which starts at $19.99, with extra goodies at $50, $100, and the $250 price points. Plus, if you've just recently hit the Powerball, there's a $1,000 pack available. Each pack comes with cash out coins, and anything above the $20 mark has an increasing number of beta keys that you can hand out to your friends, as well as other digital goodies. So, taking a look at Amazing Eternals, you'll see a lot of similarities with other hero shooters, but also a few tweaks that actually do a fair job of making this game stand out a bit. First of all, you'll notice my favorite part, the retro sci-fi theme, which is highlighted not only by the art style and character designs, but also the music and narration of the matches. It's a nice design choice that I'm a huge fan of, though of course that opinion is pretty subjective. But when it comes to the core gameplay right now, all the basics are there, but it's still early on, and we're missing a level of polish at the moment that will hopefully be addressed as development continues. Right now, feedback when attacking or being attacked, while present, isn't all that great. The best shooters use a combination of visuals and audio to almost make you feel when you're being shot at or doing damage to someone else. It is just not quite where I'd like it to be in Amazing Eternals at the moment. Of course, Warframe can be used as an example of another game Digital Extremes launched and polished over time. So if you have confidence in this studio's ability to fine-tune this game as we go, then it's hard to blame you. There are currently 5 heroes in the game known as Eternals, and I'm playing the tank, as I tend to do in most games. I know, we're playing a shooter, and here I am punching things with giant tree fists, but I can't help it, it's super fun, and maybe my new favorite thing. Now, going back to polish for a moment, something I noticed once I started playing old Bristle here is that collision seems to be in a weird place, or at least the camera does a poor job of showing me when people can slide past me, because it constantly feels like I'm cornering people and they're just kind of walking right through me, at which point I lose track of them for a few seconds. Just a small thing I'd like to see cleaned up as the beta rolls on. Besides the giant tree man here, there's also a healer, which at the moment honestly feels OP as shit when paired with the self-healing that my tree guy has. But don't tell the devs I said that, okay? There's also a guy with a rocket pack and turrets, a dude with a skull head who has a walking arsenal of different weapons, and a guy who seems to fill the slippery roguish role. So I'm not entirely sure what the last guy does, but we'll talk about why that is here in just a minute. You do have the ability, however, to switch between Eternals you have unlocked while waiting to respawn after you die. If you're into that sort of thing, which obviously I'm not. I like playing one dude and try to be really good at him. But I mean, hey, Overwatch does it, so why not everyone else? Can you hear the sarcasm? Because it was in there. And yes, swapping characters was totally an original Blizzard idea and totally not copied from some other well-known shooter. Yeah, that's still sarcasm. Everyone knows Overwatch was the first MMO, come on. But I digress. Back to Amazing Eternals. You'll notice in the bottom left-hand corner, we are getting and activating different abilities using cards. We can have up to 3 cards available at a time, and after using one, you'll get a cooldown timer before the next one takes its place. These are not set abilities, as these cards are being drawn from a deck that you can build outside of the match, and you also have control over what order they appear in, eliminating a bit of the RNG element I was so worried about going into this game. These cards can do a lot of things depending on your character, including being active abilities such as heals, passive abilities such as damage boosts, or actually swap out your weapons, changing your playstyle for a while. It's actually a really cool mechanic that they've implemented in a way that leaves room for tons of flexibility in the system. Now, acquiring said cards is still pretty RNG heavy as you play games, gain XP, and progress across the board, which, by the way, that board game element out in the lobby is simply a fancier way of representing your account progression. You'll get to choose a few card packs as well as unlock the different Eternals. Several squares actually give you a choice as to what you want at the time, whether it be which Eternal you unlock or who you get a card pack for. While the in-game systems could still use some polish during beta, my biggest gripe at the moment is the lack of information giving in this out-of-game lobby. Whether trying to find information about Eternals, their available cards, or what the heck you're even buying in the cash shop, the game is failing miserably right now at telling you what's going on. The only Eternals you can see are the ones you've unlocked so far, and even they don't give you any real information regarding what they're all about. So heaven forbid you try to figure out why some character you haven't unlocked yet just wrecked your face in a game. There's also no in-game system that lets you see what cards each Eternal has that you haven't unlocked yet. And worst of all is the cash shop card packs, which give you no indication whatsoever what it is you're actually about to buy. Right here you can see a little bit of the deck building going on for my favorite dude here, Bristle. And I do like the amount of control that the game gives you to sort of pick which cards are in your deck and which order they're going to pop out. So you can kind of think ahead and be like, oh, we're going to go in the first time and have to capture a point. So I may want some extra defense or some extra speed boost to help me get there. So it's a really nice system. I do enjoy that quite a bit. Overall, it seems the majority of problems I have with the game simply involve giving the player more information right now, whether in a match or in the lobby. Other than that, I've actually been enjoying Amazing Eternals quite a bit, and it's quite possibly found itself a little corner in a marketplace saturated with titles at the moment. We all know the history of Overwatch and its sort of domination of the market, but you've got little games like Paladins who's able to sneak in there in the free-to-play marketplace. Hopefully this game can slide into free-to-play, find itself a little niche outside of Paladins, doing something that Paladins was originally doing with the card system. Some similarities there between this and what Paladins originally was. So hopefully there's a spot for this game, because I will have to say I have been enjoying my time in the game, and with some pretty basic system improvements and a little bit of in-game polish, I believe this game could really go a long way. And one last little pro tip, if you're going to jump into Amazing Eternals, there is no tutorial play of any kind. So when you hit that play button for the very first time, you're going to be thrown straight into a game. It can be a little overwhelming the first game or two, so just be prepared to learn on the go. Also, you can and will get put into games in progress, so just be aware that can happen as well. Fun little story, my first 2 games in, I didn't really do a whole lot of trying to look into what different Eternals and stuff could do. And my second game, somebody had unlocked the healer, which you actually do unlock fairly early. She's like the third space on the board where you're progressing, so it won't take long before your team can start having the healer as well. But I didn't know, A, there was a healer, and B, wasn't able to recognize who the healer was during a game, and my team got absolutely dominated. The enemy team was holding the point with the healer putting out all the heals, healing up all the damage we were doing, and all of us were brand new. We were playing the first character that you have when you first start the game. So nobody really knew, okay, where is all this healing coming from? Who's doing it? What's the counter to it? Who do we need to focus? What the heck's going on? And it was a little frustrating. I will have to admit, my first 2 or 3 games were frustrating just due to that lack of information that I have available, and even the lack of in-game ability to go in and figure out, okay, what the heck happened there? Who was that Eternal? How do I counter her? What was she doing? You know, what were her abilities? That's not there. A lot of the learn how to play tabs in the game take you to external websites, and even there's not a ton of really good detailed information. So right now the game really needs to provide more information to the players, and that'll go a long way towards killing that initial player frustration. But just like any other game, you know, as you go along and as you play, you learn what these guys can do. There's only 5 Eternals in the game right now, so it's not that difficult to learn what each one does and how to counter each one. It's just a little frustrating having to do it in-game with no real information on what's going on. But yeah, no tutorial, no bots. No wonder Magic Man gave me this first look. It's a good thing I'm not scared. But all smack talking aside, we'll let this gameplay roll on for a few more minutes so you can see a little bit more of Amazing Eternals. This is obviously a capture the point style game map. And we started out fighting over the point in the middle. Whoever won that then has to go attack the next point, and whoever lost the first point has to defend. If you successfully defend, you get a point, and then you get to attack the next point. Or if you successfully attack, you get a point, and you get to move on and attack the next point as well. The points do move around quite a bit, so you start with the one in the middle, and then the points will move around, so sometimes they'll be over towards the enemy side, sometimes they'll kind of be over your side. Either way, you're always moving around the map from point to point. The games are not lasting too long. They do not overstay their welcome. Usually within about 10 or 15 minutes, the game is over with. It's pretty fast-paced, lots of movement around the map, lots of reasons to not just stand in one place and one place only. Games like Overwatch and Paladins, they can get a little long in the tooth, fighting over control points for just extended periods of time, in my opinion anyway. And this game does a good job of not letting that happen. The points have time limits, and whether you successfully attack or successfully defend, you've only got a certain amount of time to do so, and then you're going to move on to the next point regardless of the outcome. So it's nice and fast-paced, lots of movement, lots of moving around, not standing in one spot, which is really awesome. There's also a deathmatch mode, like the first team to 40 kills or something wins. This capture the point seems to be the one that I get most often. I don't have any control right now over which game mode I jump into. You just hit the play button and you're randomly put into a certain game. And here again, you can sometimes get put into games that are already going on. So you will jump in mid-match and hopefully be able to help your team out. So there you go. Those are the basics of Amazing Eternals. Hopefully we've given you enough information, enough of a look for you to decide whether or not it's something that you might want to try. I've had a good time in it. The last time I ended the first look for you guys, which was Brink, I ended by asking where the uninstall button was. This time, though, I'm going to go back and hit the play button. This one's staying on the computer. I want to see how this one progresses as beta rolls on, and I'm definitely interested in this game going forward, that's for sure. That's going to do it for this first look at Amazing Eternals. Again, this is going to go free to play at some point, currently in closed beta. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but I will let the footage roll on for a couple of more minutes. This match is just about over with, for those of you who want to hang out and finish watching a full match in progress. But we certainly appreciate you checking out this video as always. You can find me over at twitch.tv/noobfridge playing them video games, and be sure you head over to MMOBomb.com as always, for all your free-to-play MMO gaming news, reviews, and so much more. And you might even snag yourself an Amazing Eternals beta code if you get over there quick enough. Until next time, this MMOBomb.com first look at Amazing Eternals is done, and I am out.
Enemy fragment is failed. One enemy fragment remains. Massacre.
I went above the water. Hold on, friend.
Enemy's final fragment is now vulnerable. Melee massacre. Final enemy fragment is half drained. Enemy's last fragment is at critical.
Away!
Enemy's last fragment destroyed. You are victorious.